Hi, my dear friends. Welcome back to another class of SQL. And in this class, we shall see what is an identity column and what is also a sequence. First of all, identity column. In a table, we have several columns and fields. Now, if we want to make a particular column as an identity column, okay, then what will happen? First of all, what is an identity column? As I've marked here, it is an auto increment field. That is, under this field, the values can be auto incremented or will be auto incremented for this kind of a column. Wherever you have an identity column, under that column, the values that you get are basically auto incremented. Okay. And this kind of column only works with integer values. Okay. This kind of column works with only integer values. Now, first of all, how to create an identity column? So go to line number 2. You see use class 2. This is our database class 2 and activate this. So hit the execute button. Now under this database, tables are available, we know, and we can access those tables, and also we can create new tables. So first of all, let us create a new table here. Create table, these command you have to give, there is these keywords, and then we know how to create a table. Okay, then give the name of a table, like I have chosen here IDEN1, IDEN1. Okay, this will be the name of the table, and then let us define the fields like EMP underscore ID, that is for employee ID, and data type is integer int, and this is the keyword that you have to use here, identity. Okay, it is a property of a table, and inside the parenthesis I have given here value 100 comma 1. This means that this particular column, emp underscore id column, it will become an identity column thanks to this identity property. Okay, and this identity property can be used only with integer values, so this identity column will work only with integer values. Okay, now what does this 100 comma 1 means? This means that under this emp underscore id column, you don't have to explicitly mention any values. The values for this field will get automatically incremented, and it will start with this emp underscore id column. It will start with the value of 100 for the first row, and then for the next row this 100 will get incremented by 1, so it becomes 101. Then in the third row, 101 becomes incremented by 1, so that becomes 102, and so on under this emp underscore id field. Okay, then the next column I'm defining as emp underscore name, like employee name it is mainly signifying, and the data type is varchar and length is 10, and the final column is, or the final field is, emp underscore daisy, means designation of employees, and the data type is varchar and the length is 10. Okay, and let us select lines 3 to 4 and hit the execute button. Commands completed successfully, that means automatically your table has been created. Okay, now let us insert some values into this table IDEN1. So insert into IDEN1 values. Now you see emp underscore id is an identity column. Okay, identity column means auto increment field here. It will be an auto increment field and will work only with integer values. Okay, and thanks to this identity property, that it got converted into an identity column. And how will this operate? It will start with the value of 100, and then for each row increment by 1. And the data type is definitely integer int. It has to be, because it is an identity column. Now jack, and as you can see for the first row, two values I have specified here, jack and assoc. It stands for associate. These two you can clearly see are string values, so definitely they are not meant for this field emp underscore id, because this is an integer column. Okay, an integer data type column, so here it won't accept string values. So I've given these string values, that means these string values will automatically go into these tables respectively, emp underscore name and emp underscore daisy. So your jack will go to emp underscore name, and ASSOC, it short form I've used here, associate, it stands out to be actually full form. Associate, that is ASSOC, will go to this field emp underscore daisy. So here, as you can see, I have entered some hypothetical values for this particular data, for this particular table. So jack will go to emp underscore name, and assos, that is ASSOC, which stands for associate, will go to emp underscore daisy. I have not entered any value explicitly for this field emp underscore id, because automatically it will start with 100 and then increment by 1 for the next row. Then for the next row, that is for the second row, John, comma assistant. So John, let's say, is the hypothetical value for the employee name, that is emp underscore name, and assistant is the designation of the employee, which will go to this field emp underscore daisy. And what will happen to emp underscore id? Here, normally for table, we, if there are three columns, we enter three values. But here the table has got, three columns, and we have entered here two values. So the value for this field we don't need to give explicitly, because automatically it has been mentioned here that it will be an identity column, and for each row will increment by 1, starts with 100 for the first row. So in the first row the value was how much? emp underscore id, it was 100, starts with 100. In the next row it will get incremented by 1. So John will have his emp underscore id as 101. Okay. Then we go into the third row. In the third row, again, entering the name of the employee and entering the designation of the employee. So emp underscore name for the employee name, emp underscore desi for the designation of the employee, Rob, comma prof. Rob is the name, prof is the designation. Okay, hypothetical values. And what will happen to the emp underscore id value here? Now, for this particular row, the emp underscore id value will get further incremented by 1. Previously, it was how much? 101. Okay, and 101 in case of John. Just after John, you have Rob. So in this row, the whatever was the previous value of the emp underscore id, in this row it will get incremented by 1. So 101 will get incremented by 1. That will become 102. And then come to this last row, again a set of hypothetical values. Sam will go to emp underscore name, and assos, that is associate, will go to emp underscore daisy. So this employee name is Sam, and the designation of Sam is associate. Okay. And for this particular employee, the emp underscore id, what will happen now? Whatever was the emp underscore id value in the previous row, in this current row it will it will get incremented by 1. So it was how much? Here it was 100. It was here 102, isn't it? It was here 102. So in this case, it will get incremented by 1. So it will become 103 for case of Sam. So let us insert these values into this table, execute, 4 rows affected, and select line number 10 and execute. And you see, we did not explicitly insert any values for this field emp underscore id. Automatically, the value started with 100. Then for the next row, got incremented by 1, 101. Then this 101 for the next row got incremented by 1. So it becomes 102. And then for the next row, this emp underscore id value got incremented by 1. So 102 got incremented by 1. It became 103. Okay. This is how you can use your identity property to create an identity column in your table for auto integer values. Now there is another thing known as sequence. With the help of sequence also we can create auto integer values. Okay, with the help of sequence also we can create auto integer values. It is a database object, an independent database object. Okay, but this, with this also we can create auto integer values. Let us see. Go to line number 14. Create. Now for sequence, the command will be create sequence. These keywords you have to use, and then give the name of your sequence, which I've given here as my underscore seq1. So my underscore seq1. Then in the next line, these keywords as int. This will also, as here mentioned, sequence is also used to create auto integer values, and it is an independent database object. That's why here the data type you have to mention as integer, that is int. Okay, so that's why as int. Then go to the next line, start with 1. So it will start with 1 and increment by 1. So start with 1, increment by 1. Okay, so let us select this from lines 14 to 17 and hit the execute button. Commands completed successfully. Go to line number 19. Now how to access this sequence? Now here you have to give the command select next value for then the name of the sequence, which is my underscore seq1. Okay, select next value. This command you have to give, that is these keywords you have to use. Then further for keyword you have to use, and then give the name of your sequence. So select next value for then the sequence, for which sequence you want. Hit the execute button. See, the value is 1. It is operating like a counter. Hit again execute, now goes to 2. Hit again goes to 3. Hit again goes to 4. Hit again goes to 5. Like this, if you see, it will go on and on and on and on like this. Okay. So let us drop the sequence. You can drop a sequence like this. Drop, then sequence, then the sequence name, which is my underscore seq1. Hit the execute button. Come down. Now let us create second sequence. Again, those same command you have to give. Create sequence, then give the sequence name, which is my underscore seq2. So your sequence name is my underscore seq2, then as int. So the sequence has to be an integer data type, start with 1, increment by 1. Okay, so it will start with 1, and for each execution increment by 1. And previously we saw that with the previous sequence there was no upper limit. Here we are setting the upper limit, that is max value. Max value, this is another keyword you have to give. Max value means maximum value up to which it will go, and I have selected here as 11. So it will go up to 11. So it will start with 1, increment by 1, and it shall go up to 11, your sequence. How to execute it? Select lines 22 to 26, hit the execute button. Okay, greater than the number of available values. uh, let us see. Select next value for my underscore seq2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then see, its maximum limit has been reached. The error is given because it started with 1, then for each execution got incremented by 1, then reached up to 11, and the maximum value is 11. We cannot go beyond that with the help of this sequence my underscore seq2. Okay. Now drop the sequence. So select line number 29, hit the execute button. Now create another sequence. Here, same sequence, like only the sequence name is different, my underscore seq3, rest all is same. Create sequence, give your sequence name, my underscore seq3 as int, start with 1, increment by 1, maximum value 11, and then cycle. Cycle means now it will go into repetition. Repetition means starts with 1, increments by 1, goes up to 11, then it will cycle back. Cycle back means loop back. That means repeat again. Repeat again means it will start again with 1. That's what we are expecting. It starts with 1, increments by 1, goes up to 11. Then again it will go up to 1, then 2, then 3, up to 11. Then again in the loop 1, 2, 3, up to 11. That's what we are expecting. So select lines 31 to 36. Hit the execute button. Commands completed successfully. Now, here, select line number 38. Okay. So select next value for my underscore seq3. Hit the execute button. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now, if I hit the execute button again, previously we would, in case of in the previous case for that sequence, after 11, if I hit the execute button, I would get error. But in this scenario, I shouldn't get any error. Rather, it should cycle back and start off with the value 1 again. Execute. See, are we getting one value? We are not getting one value. If you hit the execute button again, it goes like this, it goes like this, in this way. So it did not go back to 1. It started with 1, incremented by 1, went up to 11. Then we are expecting it will start with 1 again after reaching 11. But that doesn't happen. Rather, it goes to the lowest integer value. The lowest integer value. Okay. And from there, it will start incrementing by 1 so that it could reach 11. So that would take huge amount of time, isn't it? So that's why we must set a minimum value also. Drop this sequence, line number 40. That's what I've written here. It does not go to 1, but rather goes to the lowest integer value. That's what happened there. Instead of going to 1, it went back to the lowest integer value. From there, it starts the loop again. That is, starts climbing up to 11 with the help of, incrementing by 1. So create another sequence, that is my underscore seq4. Everything is same. Everything is same. They give the command create sequence my underscore seq4 as int start with 1, increment by 1, maximum value 11, minimum value 1. Okay, we know this is max value keyword, and this is used to set the upper limit, which is 11. And another keyword we can use, which is known as your mean value. Mean value, how much I'm setting, whatever value with which it started, that value only I'm setting up as the mean value, which is my minimum value, that is 1. So now your cycle will start with 1 again. Like it will start with 1, increment by 1, go up to 11. Again, hit the execute button. So after 11, again, now it will start with the value of 1, then increment by 1, go up to 11. Then again, if you hit the execute button, then again the sequence will start with 1, then 2, and so on. In the previous case, it was, every time the loop started, it would start with the lowest integer value. But to prevent that, we have to use this minimum value criteria, and set it up as equals to whatever value you started off with this sequence. Okay, and definitely we have to use this keyword cycle. So select lines 42 to 48, hit the execute button, commands completed successfully, go down, go to line number 50, select next value for my underscore seq4. That is how you can you can get the values of a sequence one by one. So hit the execute button. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. After this, it should start with 1 again, then 2, then we'll go up to, should go up to 11. And after this, again, you hit the execute button, then the loop starts again. That is, it starts off with the value of 1 again. And then from 1, like this, goes on incrementing up to, 11. Okay, it goes on and on like this. And here all the values are stored in the main memory, and one value is fetched at a time and then executed, and then the next value is fetched at a time and then executed. So one value is fetched and executed, then the next value is fetched and executed, then the next value is fetched and executed, and all this happens on the main memory. So as you can expect, that in these were for very small amount of values for this sequence, but you can have a scenario where you can have very large amount of values. This works like a counter. So in a scenario where you may have to go for, say, millions of values, isn't it? In that case, if all these values are stored on the main memory of the system, then it can put a huge load on the main memory. And as you can see, execution will be also slower, because one value is fetched from the main memory and then executed. Then the next value is fetched and executed. So to prevent this, we can use the cache memory. Cache memory. So here create, let us drop this sequence, line number 51, hit the execute button. So create another sequence. So give this command, create sequence, then give the name of the sequence, my underscore seq5, then declare its data type, which is integer, so as int, start with 1, increment by 1, max value, that is maximum value is 15, mean value, that is minimum value is 1. So it means starts with 1, sequence will start with 1, it will increment by 1, and it will go up to 15. Then again it will jump back to the value of 1, and then again increment by 1 and go up to 15. Then again the loop starts with 1, go up to 15. Then again the loop starts with 1, go up to 15 by incrementing by 1, because for that we have given this keyword cycle, so that the loop continues on and on from 1 to 15, and after it reaches 15, then again starts from 1 to 15, then again it starts from 1 to 15. That's how the loop should work. So for that we can use the cycle keyword. And then in the next line, I am writing here cache 5. Cache 5 will ensure that the values will be now stored in your cache memory instead of main memory, so that the load put on the main memory is lighter and lesser. And also previously the fetching and execution was happening one by one, but in this scenario all the values are stored in the cache memory. The first five values will be fetched from the cache memory and then executed. Then the next five values will be fetched from the cache memory and then executed. And then the next five values will be fetched from the cache memory and then executed. So select lines 53 to 60 and hit the execute button. Commands completed successfully. And go to this line number 62, select it. We know how to operate it, how to operate a sequence. So select next value for my underscore seq5, execute button, hit starts with 1, increments by 1, goes up to, we know it goes up to 15. Then again, thanks to the cycle keyword, it will loop back. That is, the loop will start again from 1. There is jump back to the value of 1 and shall go up to 15. So the first 5 values will be stored in the cache memory. Like, all the values will be only stored in the cache memory. The first 5 values will be fetched from the cache memory and then executed. Then the next 5 values, that is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, they will be fetched from the cache memory and then executed. Then the next 5 values, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, shall be fetched from the cache memory and then executed. Now the loop starts again. So the next 5 values, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they will be fetched from the cache memory and then executed. So 5 values are fetched and then executed, not one by one. Then the next 5 values are fetched and executed. So in this way, execution becomes faster and lighter load on your main memory, and less lighter load on the main memory, because you're using your cache memory for these values. Okay. That's what I've written here. If you want, you can follow this also by pausing the video. Okay, and take a look here. This entire thing that I have written, that I explained, that is only written up here. Okay, then let us see how to use sequence inside a table. Let us see how to use sequence inside a table. Line number 70, if you follow. So let us create a table. Create table my underscore emp. Then declare some fields like emp underscore id int integer data type. This field will be emp underscore id. Will accept only integer values. This is for employee id. Okay. Then emp underscore name, that is for employee name, and data type is varchar. Length is 10, and emp underscore desi means the designation of employee. Okay, employee designation. Data type is varchar and the length is 10. So let us create this table. Select lines 71 to 72, hit the execute button. Commands completed successfully. Now we have already seen how to use create a sequence and declares data type. Same thing I'm doing here. Create sequence my underscore seq6 as int, start with 1, increment by 1, max value 15, mean value 1, cycle cache 5. Let us create this sequence my underscore seq6. We have already seen how this kind of sequence works in the previous sequence. Okay, the previous sequence logic only used up here, only the name of the sequence is different, which is my underscore seq6. Hit the execute button, your sequence is created. Now with the help of this sequence, we can insert values into this table my underscore emp. Let us see how to do it. So go to line number 83, insert into my underscore emp. Then in the next line values, and here for the first column, what was the first column? The first column was emp underscore id. Next value for my underscore seq6. Next value for my underscore seq6. This is the command that I am basically giving to enter the value for emp underscore id. Okay, and for emp underscore name, I'm explicitly mentioning the value, which is John. And for emp underscore daisy, I'm mentioning the value explicitly, which is ASSOC, that stands for associate employee designation. So select lines 83 to 84. Now with this, we will insert the values into the table. So this is for the first row. For the first row, we have inserted the values into that table, which was this table, my underscore emp. For emp underscore id, I did not explicitly mention any value, but yes, for these two fields, emp underscore name and for emp underscore daisy, I explicitly mentioned the values. Now let us see how the table looks like. Okay, let us see how the table looks like. Line number 86, if you select asterisk from my underscore emp. See, I did not explicitly enter the value of 1 for emp underscore id for this particular row, where emp underscore name is John and emp underscore daisy is associate for this particular record entire. Okay. Select next value for my underscore seq6. As we know, the sequence, it will start with 1. So the first value will be 1. That is what has been entered for the first row under the emp underscore id column for this particular employee, John. Okay. Now, in line number 88, select next value for my underscore seq6, and I have written here run it up to 5. 5 times if I run it, then what will happen? Select next value for my underscore seq6, run it up to 5. Once, twice, third, fourth, and fifth. Now see, 5 times I have hit the execute button, and what is the value I am getting? 6. Because the sequence started with 1 already, the next value was already executed. So 1 we got for the sequence. Okay, now 5 times if you hit the execute button for this particular sequence, then what will happen? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's why the last value I'm getting as 6. Okay, now insert into this table, that is my underscore emp values, then give next value for my underscore seq6, and this particular employee is jam. Suppose hypothetical values, these are again hypothetical values that I've entered here. Okay, let the person's name be jam, and let the designation of jam be assistant. So emp underscore name, that is employee name, and emp underscore desi, that is employee designation. This will be your next. This is the second employee that I'm talking about. Okay, and these are hypothetical values for this table. Again, I'm repeating. Now, what will happen to the emp underscore id value? See, this will, when I will select lines 90 to 91, then this next value for my underscore seq6 will also be inherently executed. And what will be the value generated by that sequence? Already it was 6. Already it was 6, and we know that this sequence will increment by 1. So next value for my underscore seq6 will increment the value of 6 by 1. So it will become 7. So emp underscore id value will become 7 for this employee jam, because already we have already the value of the sequence is right now at the value of 6. Sequence is right now affixed at the value of 6. So if the next value for this sequence is executed, then we know the sequence will increment by 1. So that means 6 will increment by 1. So 6 plus 1 is 7. And that particular value of 7 will be inserted under the emp underscore id column for this entire row and for this employee jam. Okay. So select lines 90 to 91 and hit the execute button. One row affected. Come down. Select asterisk from my underscore emp. You see, the for John the emp underscore id was 1. For Jam the emp underscore id is 7, because before inserting the record of Jam, the sequence value was affixed at 6, and then we use this next value command for this sequence, due to which 6 got incremented by 1, because we have fixed the rule there for the sequence that every time it happens the execution for next value, the sequence should increment by 1. So 6 got incremented by 1. 6 plus 1 is 7, and this 7 has been inserted under the emp underscore id field of this table. Jam got inserted under the emp underscore name field, and assistant got inserted under the emp underscore daisy field for jam. Okay, and then again, right now what is the value, what is the sequence value? Right now the sequence value is 7. So line number 95, if you follow, select next value for my underscore seq6, run it up to 10. Okay, so run it up to 10 means 8, 9, 10. Okay, now if I insert records, suppose there is a third employee. Again, hypothetical value. Okay, hypothetical values for employees I'm inserting. Sam is the third employee, and designation of Sam is that is associate, and the employee ID, that is emp underscore ID for Sam, has to be inserted. So automatic, without explicitly mentioning the value for emp underscore ID, we can use this command next value for my underscore seq6. So we can use the sequence to automatically insert the value for Sam. What value? emp underscore id value. Okay, so select lines 97 to 98 and hit the execute button. Right now the value, the sequence value is right now 10. Okay, right now the sequence value is 10. Now when I will execute this lines 97 to 98, Sam will be inserted underscore emp underscore name, assoc will be inserted underscore emp underscore daisy, and this command will be also inherently get executed. So whatever the value of the sequence is, which is 10, that will get incremented by 1. So 10 plus 1 becomes 11. So 11 will be inserted under the emp underscore id field for this employee Sam. Okay, and that will be a third row. So select and execute. one row affected, and select line number 100, select asterisk from my underscore emp, and you see the third row has been created, which is it is for the third employee. Emp underscore name is Sam, and designation, that is emp underscore daisy, is associate, and emp underscore id automatically is now 11. We did not explicitly mention the value of emp underscore id field. Rather, we use the sequence to insert the value of 11 here. And what was the logic? Previous value of sequence was 10, and when this table got created, then this next value for this sequence also got executed. That means whatever was the value of sequence, but which was 10, that got incremented by 1. That is 10 plus 1 gets 11, and that will be inserted under the emp underscore id field for this particular employee Sam. That's why we have 11 here. Okay. So I hope, my dear friends, you have really liked this class. And if you have liked this class, then please hit the like, share, and subscribe button. And if you have any doubts or questions, then you can put up in the comments, and I will answer to them. And that's it for this class. Thank you.